Hi, my name is Adrian Jones, and I'm here today with Micheal Nurok. Micheal is the developer of Forex Precog. And Micheal, thanks for agreeing to meet with me and being with us today. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, Micheal, for the people that don't know, and how you got into trading?
Okay, well, I was born in the 1960s, BC, that's before computers, and then I went on to do a Bachelor of Business, majoring in IT in the 80s. Now, this is the time of Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and when computers were as big as houses. So I had a natural tendency to join those passions of business, making money, and IT. That led me on to internet, and through that I was really at the right place at the right time, to answer your question. I met some people that led me on to something else, and I found that trading was something that would combine all those passions.
All right, and what got you interested in Forex trading specifically?
Well, Forex is, I consider, the most purest form of trading. You can trade stocks, you can trade options, but for me, they just didn't appeal to me. The issue that I saw with stocks, although you can trade it technically, is that there's a lot of misinformation out there, both right from your penny stocks to your corporates, like, well, anyone remember Enron, whatever happened there. But the other thing is that it really didn't suit me, because I found that I was spending a lot of time reading company reports, and really that just is something that that didn't suit.
Was Forex trading everything you expected it to be?
Trading Forex was everything I expected it to be and more. When I first started, I really had a really natural knack for it, and it really appealed to me. I started on the 1-minute time frames, and that's what I was really interested in at the time. Now, I started to win, and win big, but it was too long before I got slapped down and clawed to death by a bunch of bears and stampeded by more herds of bulls than I care to admit. I remember vividly the first time I thought, wow, this is easy, and disaster happened. I looked up dumbfounded at my wife and said, that wasn't supposed to happen. But Forex taught me a lot of things. It taught me discipline, and it taught me that there were a lot of opportunities available in the market, in what's the most liquid market in the world.
Tell us a little bit about how you trade. Do you use technical analysis at all?
Okay, coming from an IT background, I look at everything in a rational and logical way, so I'm a technical chartist. I like to find patterns and really crack the code, and I believe that it can be done, and I believe that I've done it through technical analysis.
And what about the fundamentals?
Fundamentals aren't something that I'm too interested in, apart from, say, the central banks and their position on interest rates. Other than that, once again, there's a lot of misinformation that's being pumped through our TVs and news feeds, so it's something that I don't really have much consideration for. However, when I trade technically, I always have a protect and profit policy with my trades. So if one of those inevitable, this wasn't supposed to happen moments happens, then I'm protected.
What about those who are new to trading? What's a good place or point for them to start?
Okay, well, for any trader that's looking at starting trading, they should consider the 3 pillars of success. That is, they need to get educated and in a system that suits their personality type. They need to have the right system that, once again, suits their personality type. And they need to have a mentor.
Now, do you consider yourself to be a scalper or a day trader?
Well, I consider myself more of a positional trader. I've studied the markets and the market makers, the institutions, the big guys that are pulling the strings for quite a number of years. And whether you're working on the corporate floor for one of those institutions or in your own bedroom at home, you can trade the same way. So when I trade, some of my trades will go on for days, if not a week or longer. Now, if the market moves against me, then once again, I have a protect and profit policy. So in that case, I'll scalp a few pips out of the market. When I lose, I'm still a winner, but I don't win as big. So if I'm going for $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 in the trade and it doesn't happen and it goes against me, I still want to make sure that I come out ahead at the end of the day.
What are the most common mistakes that you've noticed that traders make?
Well, second guessing the rules, dabbling in a number of different systems, being inconsistent, and letting their emotions get the better of them when they trade. Trading is a discipline, and it's as much psychology than anything else.
Do you think somebody can be employed full-time and still trade?
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, when you start out trading, you should not just jump into trading without having a permanent income stream. Now, the reason for that is that it leads to desperation. Desperation leads to greed, greed and fear. So it is something that I strongly suggest that you should do. When you trade, take it as a slow, long-term approach. Don't jump into it and, don't, for lack of a better phrase, give up your day job. Stay in a position where you have that income, and that's going to mean that you're going to be able to make better judgments with your trading.
Now, how do you go about your financial day?
Okay, well, what I do to start off with is I look through my charts at the beginning of the day and see what happened the night before. And then I'll pick my trades to watch for the day, as well as my trades to avoid for that day.
Sure. Now, how did your Forex Precog system come about?
Okay, well, precog comes from the word precognition, and that is defined as to have a knowing of a future event, normally through extrasensory perception, or ESP. And so what I was able to do is develop a system over years, taking the best from the best of the systems that I had reviewed as a trader, and then devising my own systems to integrate all together in the best possible way that allows a trader to give them the best possible chance of what is about to happen. Once again, I'm really from the days of, the Back to the Future and the Sports Almanac. So if you knew what was going to happen in the future, that is the challenge that really excites me.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the Forex Precog system?
Well, my system was developed over years. I have spent a lot of time and energy on it, a lot of money. I've had a team of programmers that have called me a pain in the butt perfectionist more times than I care to admit. But as a result, we've come up with a system that really does allow traders to be able to make confident decisions with their trading. Why? Because it does give them the ability to know what is going to happen in the very near future. It's not going to work 100% of the time, but from all my time of using it, it does provide a trader with high probability setups with the opportunity to generate big returns while only risking small amounts.
Now, I believe that you've made one of your systems freely available. Is that true?
Yes, that's the triple speed profit system. That's a funny story because I'm in a bit of a Skype group with some of my trading buddies, and we share thoughts and concepts on trading, and I made that available to them. Now, apparently, they then, or a couple of them, made the system available to some of their friends, which then made it available to other friends of theirs. So next thing you know, it's been downloaded, I'm not sure, but I would estimate several thousand times, because all I know is that I'm getting emails from people that I've never met before. But, it's a sincere form of flattery, and I'm honored.
Do you think people like complex systems, or do you think that they gravitate more towards the simpler systems?
All right. Well, look, that's a good question. I think a system has to be very simple at its heart, and I like the acronym, the KISS acronym, Keep It Super Simple. Okay, so a system needs to be very simple, but it also needs to be sophisticated. And I'll tell you a story. I went to a friend of mine recently in San Diego, and he had we started chatting and having a bit of a good time, and had a bit of a barbecue. And at one moment, he looked at me after I'd asked him, "So what exciting things have been happening in your life?" And he said, "Come over and take a look at this." So we went to the other side of his house, went into the garage, and there he's got one of the new model Teslas. Now, I don't know about you, but they are simple and elegant. They're not the most fancy car, but anyway, we went for a drive in it, and it's got this button which on it says "insane." Now, I know that they've since brought out a ludicrous button, but the one that I was driving had an insane button. I said, "Well, what's that button do?" He said, "Well, don't push that." So anyway, we got to a point where he felt that it was safe enough to push. So pushed the button. I mean, this thing went from 0 to 100 in 3 seconds. So that's the analogy I make, is that it needs to be simple and elegant, but under the hood, it needs to be sophisticated. And the Forex Precog system is exactly that. It's very easy to use, even for newbies. But don't let that fool you. It is extremely sophisticated. And the analytical power of the system would drive any trader crazy, trying to work out what the Precog system does in real time on a dynamic basis, every microsecond. It's impossible to do. I've tried it. I'm telling you, it's impossible. And that's why I developed the system, not to publish it and release it to people, but to use it for my own trading.
Thanks. What do you think is the biggest challenge that traders face today, and how would Forex Precog overcome that?
Apart from the misinformation that we're continually being fed, I think one of the biggest challenges for traders on a personal basis is fear and greed, making wrong decisions, letting their emotions get away with them, and not sticking to the rules. Now, it seems like an easy task. And as I was sharing with you, I thought that it was easy when I first started, but it didn't take too long for me to realize that it's actually a lot more tricky than it appears. So the Precog system takes the hard work out of it and makes trading a lot easier for traders, whether they are newbies or advanced professionals.
What is your definition of a successful trader?
You know what? I've been to quite a few conferences for traders, and you can always tell the difference you can always tell who's a successful trader and who's not. And you know what that is? It's in their face. You can see a person that the traders that are smiling, that are looking at peace with themselves, they're the successful traders. And the ones that are looking stressed are not. So really, it comes back down to consistency, being able to make confident decisions on a daily basis without stressing yourself out.
Well, thanks so much, Micheal. It's been great meeting with you. Thanks for your insights. It's obvious to me that you're a passionate and talented trader, and I'm really looking forward to learning much more about Forex Precog in the near future. Thanks again, Micheal.
Okay, great. Thanks very much for having me.